Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Maverick River Podcast. I'm Justin, and it is going to be a really great episode, especially if you're married. If you're married, this is the episode for you. If you are dating, if you're a guy out there, maybe in some serious relationship thing, like this is going to be really, really great for you. We're joined by George and Tondra, who have written a bunch of marriage books. They speak about marriage. They are all about you having a healthy marriage, building a winning marriage, and they put time into this. So we're going to be able to learn some stuff. We're going to get great insights from them. They have a great conversation with Tim. And I'm telling you, this is the one to share with a friend if they're going through some marriage stuff. And by the way, he is the chaplain for the Los Angeles Chargers. So he gets football, he gets guys. Like, this isn't just somebody from the outside saying, oh, this is how you should do marriage. They come with experience. I think he and his wife are going to encourage you in this episode. So no matter where you are, no matter how you're listening, how you're joining us, we think men can always go a little deeper. And sometimes it's just a conversation like this to help us get going. So I hope you enjoy. So let's jump in with Tim. I hope you love this conversation in the wild with George and Tondra.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're here in the studio at the Maverick River Podcast. It's going to be an amazing episode because I have my friends George and Tondra Gregory. Amazing people doing amazing ministry. I cannot wait for you to hear their story. So here we are. Welcome, George and Tondra.
Bro, we finally made it, right?
Yes.
We're finally here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you're able to be in the studio. As you know, Maverick River is all about engaging men and family and helping dads. And so you guys, marriage is a big component. A men's ministry is a marriage ministry. You guys know this stuff, and you're all about marriage ministry. Before we get in and learn more about you, I always kind of ask these obscure would you rather questions just to throw you off a bit, just to kind of, see more of who you are. So the first one, it's easy. This one's easy. You can only eat one food for the rest of your life. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it is this food. That's all you can eat. What are you going for?
I'm going for skirt steak.
Skirt steak.
That's it.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And dinner.
With like a chimichurri drizzle. Like
You said one thing, but if I can get accoutrements, yes, I'll take that.
I'll allow a little bit of seasoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is a little red wine, is that seasoning
No,
too?
that would be a second item.
Okay.
And that just skirt steak straight up. No red wine. Sorry. That's too far.
Yes. And I will go for either French fries or potato chips.
Wow.
Okay.
That is
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're going potato chips or fries. Okay, so if I honored a dipping sauce with these fries, are we going traditional ketchup?
Traditional ketchup.
Okay. See, if that was me, I'd go ranch. I like dipping fries in ranch.
I would do syrup.
Syrup.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
So you're like Buddy the Elf, dipping your fries in syrup.
Bro, I'm from the East Coast South. We different out there.
Yeah.
I would do the syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this next one's a little bit different. So you are in a rock band together. Okay. You're in a rock band together. What, and you're big time. I mean, you're number one on the charts, but what genre music are you? What is it?
But you said we're in a rock concert, though.
Well, I mean, you're
In a
like
band.
rock stars.
Rock stars.
Stars.
Stars, musical stars, however you want to say.
I would have to say rhythm, R&B, rhythm and blues.
R&B.
It's going to be that all day long.
Yeah, maybe this is a category. I would say love songs. I think we try to create love and we try to sing.
That's so on brand with the marriage ministry, Journey for Life.
Yes.
That's right.
That's just PR. You don't mean it. You're just saying, oh, I better pick the marriage.
Listen.
genre.
I've been listening to
he does.
slow love music
Yes.
since I was 5 years old,
Yeah,
bro.
he's really into it.
And so now I just sing all those songs.
What's
to
your
Tondra.
favorite love song?
Bro, anything Luther Vandross,
Oh,
anything.
that's your guy.
I mean, if we could, I mean, obviously I would want to resurrect Jesus from, like not resurrect him from the dead, but I would want to bring him back. But if I could bring anybody back that's in our lifetime, I would bring Luther back because I think he's probably responsible for more babies in this country.
Oh my goodness.
Weddings and everything.
Yeah. He's got that smooth, silky voice. I like it. Okay, great. Well, now I just want to get to know you guys. Let's share with the audience a little bit about your story, who you guys, how did you end up in ministry and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, we met in Biology 101.
Oh.
First day of school.
In college or high school?
In college.
Okay.
In college. And as you can see, I just had to talk to her and be around her. She was so cute. And, we often laugh about how we met just in that class. And for us, it was just like these moments of, we had a lot of classes together. We spent a lot of time together, and really we developed this very close relationship. And then sooner or later it became, sort of like the guy girl thing. It was like, hey, let's kind of hook up or whatever in a worldly way. We were not saved. We were not believers. And Tim, most people are blown away when I say this, but we actually got married because we had gotten pregnant and we had my son on the way. And so Tondra's from a single parent home. And what I didn't want her to see me do is to neglect my child. I wanted to honor her. I wanted to own my responsibility. And so we rolled the dice, and 30 years later, guess what? It worked.
Yeah.
All right.
And that is also what led into us going into ministry, just navigating through that challenge, getting married, kind of more in a crisis mode and not really having a game plan for after you get married, what happens next, what's the plan, what's the strategy. And when the dust settled from the crisis and we were married and we were just like so different, had different backgrounds, and we struggled through that. And we like to say we're pictures of God's grace. Like, we shouldn't be helping couples, writing a book, teaching anybody about marriage, because we shouldn't even be together today, basically. But God helped us figure out how to make our marriage work, and we immediately started to want to help other couples. Anyone who needed help figuring this out. It's not something that you just know how to do just because you love each other or just because you get married. That's when the work begins, and we wanted to help couples with that part. Once the fairy tale or the dust settles, here's your plan on how to make it work.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that's going to give some hope to your listeners, right? Like, it doesn't matter how your marriage or relationship start off. You have the ability to chart the course and rebound, right? Or to be reconciled. And so for us, man, it was tough those first 2 years. But the story doesn't have to end there, right? You get to, on your walk with God, you get to, as we like to say, don't die in a sea of lifeguards. There's so much help out here. And so we ended up staying together. We stuck it out. And then we developed this big heart for marriage. But I was a pastor. Tondra was a clinician, and we were kind of crossing each other during the day a few times. Yeah. But then we really started, as we went to New York City and planted a church, we wanted to do outreach outside the four walls. And so we decided to do, of all things, pre-marriage classes for New Yorkers who were trying to save money on rent to they stayed together. So we taught them that it's okay if you get married. We taught them what marriage was. And we had plenty of people who would come to that class and say, we never knew what it was because we hadn't seen the model. Right. And so that just led us to starting our marriage ministry called Journey for Life. We believe that marriage isn't just a journey, it's a journey for life. Yeah. And the first organization in New York that called us was the New York Jets of all organizations that could call and just say, hey, we heard about what you guys are doing, and we want to get you in our locker rooms and helping. We were doing dinner date nights and
couples Bible studies, date nights, dance lessons,
premarital counseling, anything relational like that. We weren't the chaplains, but we assisted the chaplains. And then then all of a sudden the Giants called and said, hey, it's not fair that the Jets get you guys. And so we want to get you guys over. And from there, man, we were already in ministry, but from there it started our ministry from NFL locker rooms to everyday living rooms, man. And it hadn't been the same since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think similar to Maverick River Collective, you guys, Journey for Life is a collective, and that there's a lot of things that you guys do. There's a lot of lanes where you support marriages and do different things. And we're going to talk about a lot of that, but tell us more specifically, what are some of those things that Journey for Life does beyond the chaplain part of things? There's a lot that you guys do.
Well, in a larger way, I think, when we look at the demographic that we reach, right? We influence the influencers, right? So high influential, busy couples, we are always dealing with those type, right? And because it's men in the locker rooms, right? And because they're married or have girlfriends, there's the women that we touch, right? From coaches to players to front office.
Yeah.
But when we talk about what we do with Journey for Life, I mean, obviously it's couples, but couples are made up of so much more than just a husband and a wife. And so Tondra, she's found herself dealing with some real big celebrities in New York City, or even now, just counseling or coaching. And so I think it's like a Swiss Army knife of what do we do? But really, when you peel us back, here's what somebody told me a long time ago. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that's kind of missing in our society, is that we want to preach at people, but do we want to make time to journey with them, to be in their struggle, or to encourage them? And that's a large part of what we do in and outside of just the marriage component.
Absolutely. And that's what we like to say, even with the Los Angeles Chargers. Coach Lynn was like, when he brought us in to be chaplains, when he was the head coach, he was like, oh, I didn't even know you guys were going to do all of this. But I'm glad you did. So it's sort of like a church service, for the organization.
No, it's kind of like a church that you guys have set up, right?
Yeah.
Not just a church. It's like we do chapels, we do Bible studies for many different segments. And so he was like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's what I was going to say. He was like, it's like a church. And so we just wanted to make it available because of the lifestyle of NFL when football season is there. It's like you have to bring the church to them because they're in the NFL world. It's always going, and you don't have time to pull away for those things. But so with our women, I do a women's players' wives and girlfriends Bible study. I do coaches' wives Bible study. We do couples. We do front office exec Bible studies. And then, like George says, chapel services, coaches Bible study, players Bible study.
It just makes me tired just talking about all this.
What else? We do everything.
I think we try to do a really good job at setting a hook.
Yeah.
And just waiting for those opportunities. You see, you're not going to catch fish if you only fish it with one type of bait or with just a hook. We set multiple things out there to have gospel conversations that really connect people back to the gospel with everyday things. So when I'm on the field right before a game and I go up to a coach and I just say, hey, how's your wife? You can tell if they're in a good place or not so good place. And it's in those moments that we can kind of encourage. And a lot of people think, oh man, chapel is so cool. I say, no, it's the plane rides. That's the cool part because you get to see these guys with their guards down and they're really just wanting to talk and just be normal individuals.
And I would like to even add an element that surprisingly has taken shape is with the fans. Like George pastors the fans, and they just really have adopted him as their pastor. And one night the Chargers came back from a late night game, and the fans were out there, and they had George's face on a sign.
Forget Lil Mac.
Pastor George.
Forget Herbert.
They don't care about Herbert.
And I was like, George, they've got your face on a sign tonight.
Jerseys with Gregory on the back.
I mean, it's like you, Tim. It's like, such a heart for people.
Yeah.
Is that you get to know the fans because you're saying, hey, I prayed for your mother. How's she doing? Or, how's your marriage? I know you guys were having struggles. Or if somebody's sick, that's what we offer. We try to be just really the hands and feet of Jesus wherever we are. It's just that the fact that God placed us there, like we pinch ourselves almost every day that we get to do what we do at this level.
Yes.
So you only just shared more or less about the chaplain ministry part of Journey for Life. You guys do a lot.
Oh, yes.
Beyond the Chargers. There's a lot going on.
Yes,
you mentioned none of that. So tell us about the other side.
Sorry.
Yes.
You want to mention it?
Yes. So we also do relationship coaching, individual and group coaching for couples just to help who need a little more kind of personalized help on specific areas in their marriage. We also do, we travel around the country. We teach and preach on marriage. We do consulting with churches to help them build marriage ministries. So we're just trying to help help people reimagine what marriage can be through a biblical lens. And we are really trying to give practical tools to really help couples succeed in their marriage, because we believe marriage is a missional tool. We believe that that God created marriage and family to be the vehicle in which he passes his legacy on from generation to generation. And that's why I feel like there's such a big attack to destroy the image of God, to destroy his character and his nature, and confuse people about who they are or who God is. Right. And so we are really trying to do our part to bring clarity for that and to help people reflect the image that God had for them, or to let their marriages live out the purpose that God had in mind when he created marriage.
That's good.
And then as of late, we wrote our book that just launched on July 1st, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. But really, just as an offshoot of that, we're going to start our own podcast called The Marriage Game Plan, and we're going to invite guests, influential couples and everyday couples to talk about. So when you went through that season that was a struggle, what was your game plan? What did you do? So I think people want to know just everyday life is how to cope with challenges or enemies that you face together or individually in a marriage. And so that's what we're going to do. And I think, man, again, it's whether it's with the Chargers or whether it's just traveling around the country or whether it's sitting down at a kitchen table, our life really is all about really helping lift, encourage couples that are made up of men, women, leaders, and just people who need somebody to listen.
It's great. Yeah, you set us up for the next kind of question. You guys are, congratulations, USA Today best selling authors for your newest book. Only been out for 3 weeks.
Only.
And it's The Marriage Game Plan. This book is designed to minister and help couples in their marriage. Incredibly difficult. The marriage statistics are through the roof on as far as divorce rates, probably still north of 50% last time I heard. So how did this happen? How did you, you're doing this for years. Now it's time to put it into a text. So let's share more about that process.
Yeah, well, man, we have been doing this for years, just traveling the country. And so we already had a good amount of talks that we do. And we had met with some guys who had wrote books or who had written books. And so they just kind of said, hey, here's how you do it. Yeah. And so we wrote a proposal. Yeah. We got an agent. We wrote a proposal. We got a book deal. But really, man, it was just us kind of sitting down, taking all the talks that we do, and really putting it in an outline of a book and trying to figure out what would we want people to do. So interesting enough is that we wrote the Marriage Game Plan, and we had a lot of warfare writing this book, right?
Yeah, we say our second book would be how to write a marriage book together and stay married.
No. Happily married. Happily married.
Yeah, happily married.
Because it was tough. Just so much as just kind of sitting down. Like Tondra, she's more of a live in a gray, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but she's more a live in a gray, and I'm more of an A-type. I need an outline. And she's like, no, they said just start wherever we are, whatever we're feeling.
Just start writing.
And I was just saying, but
I got a plan where my heart is.
But I didn't want to be writing on a concept or a theme that she's writing on, and then we look and we spent 3 weeks on the same thing. So once we did that, she got her 4 chapters, I got my 4 chapters,
that's how you broke it up.
That's how we broke it up.
Yes, because we're so different, and we feel like we bring something different to the table that gives such a well-rounded view. And so each one of us kind of got in charge of certain chapters, and then we kind of swapped our chapters, and then we read through each other's chapters and kind of put our personality, because we wanted it to feel like a unified book,
both of you,
where it's not like, 2 different perspectives, but cohesive. So
we looked at sort of the content of the book through all the years of coaching, counseling, and traveling, and said, what are the hot topics that people have struggled with or their challenges? But we didn't want to just say what they are. We wanted to help people to not just identify, but to navigate how to do that. And Tondra, with her background in counseling and therapy, she gives a lot of tools. And so it's not just a reading book.
It's practical.
It's a very practical, it's interactive. So with the sports themes, like, we're talking to a men's podcast. So we wrote the book with the man involved in mind, right?
Yeah.
Like we talk about, it's a marriage book, but we use sports analogies to undergird the marriage principles, right? And so at the end of every chapter, we've got a putting it into practice section, right? Because most of us, man, if we just learn to practice better or not get bored with, I said I love you one time and now you want me to say it one more time today, or how to forgive or whatnot. So it's just practice. And so we've got to put it in a practice section. And man, we've been so surprised at the reviews online, even just with that section, because it's so interactive where couples can sit, answer questions, do couples activities to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And it's just been phenomenal.
Yeah. I was just going to also shout out my ladies, because I've been doing a lot of women inspired podcasts, and the women are like, this sounds so unromantic. Like, I don't want my husband giving me like football terms when we're talking. And so I want the ladies to know that this is a marriage book. Okay. It is a marriage book. And we wrote it with the man in mind to use analogies to help undergird or to give a visual for the marital principle. So both women and men can engage with the material and content and feel that they can be impacted by the book.
I think that's super helpful because, for one, this is, more or less a men's podcast, but there are women that listen to the podcast. But I think it's genius because guys would probably be more inclined to read this book knowing that there's some sports integration to help them practice. We're simple minds. Yeah. We're simple creatures. And if you're integrating, football terminology into a marriage game plan, it's only going to help us.
Yes.
And the women will translate it just fine.
Yes.
But us, not as easy. But if it's football terms, okay, I think I understand.
And it's not even just football. It's sports. It's sports. Like the concepts are like, we're on the same team. Right? In marriage, sometimes when you're not on the same team, it's when you're feeling like enemies because you're having what we call intense fellowship. That means fights, right? When you're in those moments, sometimes you don't feel like teammates. And so just the concept of the sports team there just realizes that, wow, if I'm going to be in that stadium cheering for the Chargers that might be up some seasons and down some seasons, then man, can I root for my marriage during the seasons that I'm down? Understand that I can give my husband or my wife high five, even though when we don't feel like we're on the same team, that we're just going to continue to work together, to pray together, and to live together and try to get it together in perfect harmony.
I love that. So I'd love for you guys to maybe, if you're up for it, like one of the hot topics you mention in marriage and the difficulty that it can be to be in unity for years and years. What are maybe take a chapter or two to help us learn like some of these tools, some of this practical stuff, like, what would that look like for us to hear more on, give us a glimpse into one chapter.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, man, the what we've run into a lot, whether it's on the East Coast, West Coast, or internationally is when you're so different that sometimes our differences, man, it just kills us because, you know, Tondra's got a saying that says that opposites.
Opposites attract, but then they attack.
Right.
That's true.
Right. So it's literally like so we're different, right? Like Tondra, she's more of a live in the gray. I said that a few moments ago.
Yeah.
She's like stop and smell the roses. I'm more A-type. I got to have a plan. And if it's on my calendar, I get it done. And when we were first married, bro, it was like World War III because we're so different.
Right.
But what we try to help couples do throughout the chapter is teach them that your differences could actually be a bridge to bring you guys closer if you look at how they help you fill your gaps. So her differences help fill my gaps. My differences help fill her gaps. That's what Rocky said, right?
Yeah. And I feel like the area that we're different is the thing that we reject from each other, right? Because it's like we want, George wants me to operate like him and need the same things he needs.
That's the best way, my way, right?
Or he thinks his way is the right way. And then also for me, I pull him towards, no, we're going to do it this way because this is what I feel comfortable with. And it's about finding a way to allow each other to influence in the way that you're different. And we like to teach that your spouse is God's provision for you. God, when we talk about Adam and Eve, God gave Adam a helper that's suitable for him. That doesn't mean that she was like just like him. You know what I'm saying? That means suitable. There was something that Adam needed that he didn't have. So God gave him what he didn't have. All right. So that is how you have to work. I like to say that's the reframe we have to have. If you look at it in like just a worldly or cultural way, it's focused on me and how I want to do things. But this is, and if you look at it through that biblical lens, it's focused on, okay, so this is God's provision for me. Then let me receive the gift of God for my life and not reject it. Because she's different or he's different, let me just say, okay, this is an area of growth for me. Let me work on this. Let me pull up my sleeves. Let me learn some new habits and skills so that I'm getting made better and getting everything that God has for me. So that's just one of the things that I feel like is a big hot topic that couples struggle with is how to get a game plan when you're different so that you can feel like your teammates and not operate always in these opposing lanes.
So Tim, I'll give you sort of an example, and we share this in the book, right? So again, like me being so A-type, I sort of ran Tondra through a lot, just trying her to get to be like me, right? Why don't you have a plan? She had gone to school for counseling, and then she went through this whole deal. It's like, I don't know if I want to do it. And I'm like, no, we pay for it. You're going to do it, right? So what's your plan to start your counseling practice? It took her years, but I was able, through my A-type personality, I was able to help her set goals and get that thing done. And now look at her. I mean, she's like, if I told you some of the people that she coaches, you'll be like, I cannot believe it, right? But then what her differences were for me was to take my A-typeness and slow down and enjoy life, right? Like she taught me, don't be on Tim's podcast and be thinking about the next 3 podcasts that you got going on. Live in the moment. And that is huge for a dad with kids. Right. Is we're so busy trying to win the away game that sometimes we're just willing to lose the home game because we want to win in our career or extracurricular activities, right? And so she taught me things like, when you come in the house, can you not give the kids the Heisman, right? Like I'm on my phone, I'm Pastor George, I'm thinking I'm important, and the kids are ready to jump on me, and I'm like, hey, just wait 1 minute, just wait 1 minute. She said, can you finish your conversations in the car so that when you come in the door, you can get on your knees, get on their level, ask them how their day was, tickle them, and don't just run to your room and continue your conversations. Right. And I got to tell you, man, my daughter, I could really get choked up. She's a grown woman now, but she often tells me, she says, Dad, I appreciate that you were at every recital, every track meet, every PTA. And I just think sometimes, and I'm not saying I'm better than any other man, but I just feel like if we can be more attentive at home, and that's what Tondra helped me do, is to not just go and conquer the outside, but make sure that I'm conquering my kids' hearts and stewarding them right in the ways that God. And that's just some example of how we embraced each other's differences when they were really, and when we were first married, man, we were about to kill each other because we were so different.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's amazing. What was your favorite chapter to write? Like the one that you feel like people need to hear this. This one is so practical.
I feel like my favorite chapter, I love all of them, but I really am happy with the tips for tackling tough conversations chapter.
That's a good one.
And this is my favorite because this was a challenge for me in not being able to talk about hard things.
Yes.
How I grew up, it was just that we didn't do that well, talk about hard things. And me coaching couples, some couples grow up where in their home, they didn't talk about hard things at all. They would just tiptoe around the elephants in the room, right? And so just giving, just practical steps for and principles on why it's best to attack these head on and help you feel comfortable, because sometimes we avoid because we don't know how to have these conversations, or we feel like, oh, if I open this conversation, I'm afraid I'm not going to know how to get out of it, navigate, find closure to the conversation, or just finding that right time to have it, because it's like we're in a good place. Don't want to have it then. We're in a bad place. Don't want to have it then. It's just finding that right time to have it and feeling empowered in having those conversations.
Yeah. I think that's a good chapter. For me, though, it's the chapter 10, bro. Like literally, we wrote this book, Tim, and then we didn't have chapter 10 done.
Chapter 10, the last chapter.
Chapter 10 is about putting together your marriage game plan, right? And we didn't have chapter 10 written. And it was a lot of words. And then I said, we can't do it. It's not finished. And she said, what do you mean? I said, because it's called the marriage game plan, but we didn't talk about how they could develop their very own game plan. So we went back and for every chapter, we give you the ability put it in the practice section, that interactive section. You answer questions, you do the activities, and all throughout each one, we give you things to put in chapter 10.
Yeah.
So you're building it along the way.
You're building it along the way. That's why we say, man, take the time to invest. This is for me, like it's training camp, right? If you're going to win the Super Bowl, you got to take training camp seriously, right? So some guys say, what little bit can I do with this book to get the most out of it? And I say, no, you got to tackle it head on. And so for me, chapter 10 is where I see the practice of it, the implementation of it, that when you can say, wow, this book is not just theory or objective, it's very subjective, because here's the way we answer the questions, here's the way we interacted. And by the time they hit that chapter 10, man, we got it so full of nuggets. We got tips, coaching tips from every chapter. I mean, we launch you into a new season of, we got a game plan that we can come back to for years to come, and we can work on it, massage it, because one season of your marriage is going to look different than the next season. And so we believe this book is going to be relevant throughout every stage of marriage.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I resonate with what you were sharing, Tondra, because one of the things I've learned about myself that I developed growing up is just avoid. I call myself the chief avoider officer.
Okay.
I'm top dog. And that does not do well in a marriage. I don't like hard conversations in general, and most people resonate with that.
Yes.
There's very few people, except maybe some type A, red, hey, let's go, conflicts, let's run towards it.
Love it.
Generally speaking, that's not most humans.
Right, exactly.
George is, he's George, but
I'm special.
that is so practical because so much of the hardship in a marriage later could have been avoided by bigger, harder conversations or smaller, conversations that didn't even have to be that difficult, but it's still not a fun conversation per se. And I've learned, like, man, I just avoid, you know.
And it's very common. Very
You know,
common.
the thing that I learned is, like from men, by the way, is that they're having conversations in their head about these tough subjects.
Oh, yeah.
But to not say anything means it eats you up.
Right.
And then the devil, or the enemy of our soul,
Yes.
it's the accuser of the brethren. So whatever you're thinking and dwelling on, it's telling you that's truth, right? And so if you're not willing to talk to your spouse and say, hey, this season of sex is just really not good. I don't know what we're doing. We're not talking as much. We're not communicating as much. But when you can have that hard conversation and your spouse responds and says, wow, I didn't know you felt that way.
Right.
See, most of the time, if we don't say how we feel, and I know in our locker room, we go through this exercise where we teach the guys feeling words. We give them a color wheel and say, when you're feeling this color, here's what word you can use. And bro, they love it because some of us, man, we were not taught how to feel.
Exactly.
Or how to articulate how they're feeling.
Exactly,
Right.
right. How to articulate, or if we articulate it, oh, you're not man enough, or you're a wimp and whatnot. And so when I feel like when we can articulate how we feel, then we can stop listening to the accuser in our head. And most of our marriages are not bad marriages. It's just that we dwell on the things that might be bad, as opposed to let's have these tough conversations, so that for me, I can get out of my head and say, Tondra's the greatest woman in the world just because she's willing to listen, even if I don't say it the right way. I've got a woman here who just says, say it and we'll deal with it as it comes out. But I want to know what's on your heart. And that for me helps me to open up for those conversations more so. And how do I deal with her heart in those conversations? Because Tim, I could just get it out. That's why I teach in this book to a lot of men. Is we like to say whatever's on our mind. Sometimes we need to think about what we're going to say before we actually say it. And so that's what's in that chapter 2 is what to say, when to say, and how to say it.
That's correct.
The timing of it is key, especially when you have young kids and there isn't necessarily an easy time to have a hard conversation.
Right, exactly.
So, man, I'm really proud of you guys. So exciting that. Man, bestseller? Who saw that coming?
No.
Big time.
No,
I know. We did not see that coming.
That's incredible.
We didn't. You know, our publisher kept saying, hey, I think we can get you there. And I just told him, I said, the book is coming out in the summer right before camp. It's too much pressure on me. I got a lot going on. For us, our heart was, we wanted to write the book for the couples that we knew God wanted to read this book. So it wasn't masses. It was specific couples.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at what God has done, man. It's like for us, it's like when we looked at it, we were 25 that week out of 150 books that were selected based off sales. And for a marriage book in our society to be leading, come on, man. And we talk about God all up in this book. So it's a godly Christian marriage book that's going to give you hope and help. We just said, man, if it's on a bestseller list, look at what God's already done with the way he's wired our hearts.
Yes.
And we're really humble, really appreciative of what God's done.
Amen.
That's amazing. Of course, we'll link it in the profile so anyone listening can. Everyone needs this book. Everyone needs this book. So, and it's on Audible as well now.
Bro, we got it so easy for the guys and the ladies. It's on Audible, it's on Kindle, it's hard copy. And by the way, the Audible book is us.
We actually
You
read
guys
the
did?
audio.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I always like that because I'm more auditory and I listen to most books.
Yeah.
Not all, but I don't like it when it's not the author speaking because it just doesn't feel as authentic.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, even though I don't want to listen to George all that much, but I'll consider it. I'll consider it. So one of the things, I mean, we've been talking about marriage, but like I brought up that statistic. You guys might know the number specifically. Why do you think, and I've heard, and I don't want to mess with the numbers. I know it's a 50% above divorce rate in our country. And then I've even heard the statistic is even higher for Christian couples. You guys are traveling around the country, speaking at churches all year. And why do you think why is that? What's happening there?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that marriage is one of the most important institutions that you will ever be a part of. However, I do think it has been not watered down, but it's lost its, not sanctity, but what's the word I'm trying to say when something is sacred? Yeah. It's kind of lost like that sacred thing, honorable thing. With all, a lot of people don't have a lot of hope in marriage that it can work. I think that we are leaning towards a society that's about self. And, if you look at a lot of the slogans that are most successful, it's really encouraging, do you. It's about your happiness. Yeah. It's about you. And that, to the biblical way that God designed marriage is right now is countercultural. Yeah. It's the total opposite. It's you focusing on the other, focusing on your spouse, sacrificing for your spouse, dying to yourself, to your flesh, to your needs for that higher purpose that God has for the family. And I think that just is in conflict with our culture today, which is
our son, he's got this saying, hey, Dad, let me do me, right? And I say, son, when we do ourselves and it's only about selfish desires that are met, we cease to be kingdom people, right? And so another thing I think is so you talk about 50%, right? That's the most quoted stat, right? But in our world, in the NFL, divorce happens 70% after retirement. 70%. Okay, but hold on. We're sitting in Orange County. The stats that we hear is 72%. So here's what we know. We have a problem with, I think our culture is so much so like, it's easier because of these selfish desires. It's easier to start over or get out of this one than it is for us to believe that our great God, who we sing about, who we worship about, and we high five about, can he redeem what our mess is? You see, marriage is a messy team sport on most days, right? But again, man, it's our greatest teams that we love a great comeback. I mean, I could go, we have a section on this in the book, but I could go down a list of, we root these teams on to come back. And so for us, man, for us to root for couples and couples to root for themselves and say, man, we want God to redeem our marriage, heal our marriage. And so I think to throw a marriage away, and this is no judgment because we understand that sometimes it's so difficult, but that divorce statistics, those are really high because of selfishness. But sometimes I think it's just, let me get out of this and let me see if I can find something better. Yeah. And sometimes it's not the real estate that we go from location to location. Sometimes the problem is us as we go from location to location because we're marred, we're messed up. And yet, when I look at Tondra, man, I've just seen her growth over the years. She wants to be more like Christ, more shaped in his image. And the same with me. And we're not perfect, but I just think when you have two couples who come together, or two people, when you come together and just say, let me not try to be my selfishness, be my best self, but let me be the best self for you. And that's what I think is causing a lot of divorces in this country is when we're not fighting on the same team to win together and being made in the image of who Christ is.
Amen. And you have to do the work to do that. Yes. I think a lot of people, it's just as soon as it's getting hard or as soon as I'm not getting my needs met or as soon as this is uncomfortable, then I want out. And that's the time you lean in. And so I do think it's got to be a countercultural perspective of what is being ingrained in us in society and what we focus on.
I'll say this. The one thing I really love is that when we're traveling around the country or speaking, and it's not just us, I believe God does this a lot with people, but there's always that one or two couples who come back up and they basically have the divorce papers ready. And they said, we were headed to the lawyer after this if it wasn't. This was the last stop.
Yes. Wow. Yes.
And so that just says to me, if I could encourage your listeners, man, don't die. in a sea of lifeguards. Get the help you need.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a conference on marriage. Maybe it's a retreat. Maybe it's professional counseling. Maybe it's joining the marriage game plan online coaching groups that we're going to start.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, get the help you need, because, and this breaks my heart, Tim, is that when I think about so many kids,
Yeah.
they're just, we raise better kids in a 2-parent home. Not to say we're slamming a single parent. No, we're not saying that. But statistics will say is that when you come from those 2-parent homes, you're better set up with a more holistic way to do it. And we were doing a prayer service one night, and 3 kids come up to me, very small kids, and they yanked on my jacket, and I looked, and I finally saw that they were down there, and I said, "What do you want prayer for?" And they said, "Our mother and father are getting a divorce, and it's killing us."
It's hurt. Oh. It hurts really bad.
What we say we do is we're really helping kids have better homes, because if you can teach the parents to stay happily married together, we can probably raise a society of better kids as they grow up and take on the legacy and the destiny of our country here.
Yeah, I think the statistic is 1 in 4 kids grow up without a father.
Yeah.
And there's an absent father somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then there's all the statistics that come after that. What does that look like for that child?
Right.
And unfortunately, there's not always the case, but there's a lot of hardship and trouble that usually follows that.
Yeah.
And so the work that you guys are doing is so essential, critical, and obviously Christ-centered in offering so much hope. So thank you for the work that you do. One thing you just said that I'd love for our listeners to hear more, you guys are going to be launching marriage game plan online cohorts. Is that something like that?
Like coaching groups for people who want a more intimate experience with the material in the marriage game plan. So their marriage game plan coaching groups, and therefore we can just help like answer questions, walk them through, just make it more alive with the material if they need some more coaching with some of those practical exercises specifically unique to their relationship.
So is that in a group setting, multiple couples, or just 2 on 2?
Oh,
No, it's going to be multiple couples.
Multiple couples,
Okay, cool.
virtual.
Yeah, and we did that because sometimes couples will contact Tondra and say, "I need individual coaching," and they say, "But I can't afford that," right? And so we try our best to help couples as much as we can, but it's just another way to get couples not to have an excuse of financially I can't afford it. And so we offer them the ability to get in a cohort of people. I mean, I love it on the football field. None of those players, they ask questions by themselves. They always ask it in a team room. And so I'm just so used to a group concept of vulnerability and openness. And the other part is that when couples get together in groups, man, there's no dumb question. And I learned because somebody else is asking their
they
question.
glean from each other. There's a lot of other elements of enrichment when you go through things together as couples and glean from each other, or just normalizing that this is
They're not alone.
Exactly. This is a common struggle with couples, and we're all working there. So we just feel like there's another great element when you can do it in group settings as well.
I love that. And I'm sure some of these couples will bond and have beautiful relationships and walk with each other through good and bad. And so I think that's a great thing that you guys are launching the groups. So man, like I said, Journey for Life is full of so many different things, and you guys are busy, running hard and fast. All over the country, writing books. You guys are killing it.
Bro, we're trying to keep up with you.
Not even. You guys are so far ahead. So far. I'm just trying to catch up. But I'm honored that you guys would be here and sharing some wisdom. 2 things I kind of like to end on. One, just any sense of, and you've already been so encouraging, but anything you want to leave the couples, hopefully a guy will hear this and want his wife to listen to. So some sort of encouragement for a married couple. And then also, I love if one of the 2 of you would end in prayer for our listeners. That would be cool.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this, man. If we can make it, anybody can make it, right? Like I'm telling you, Tim, we were so First 2 years was hard. So if your listeners are in a hard season right now, or maybe it's not a difficult, but maybe it's just a season that they don't really want to be in, like, don't give up. Like, if we can do it, if we can self-study, if we can go to conferences, and if we can get help that we need, we want to just encourage, get the help that you need, because we are pictures of God's grace. We almost messed it up.
Yeah.
But you can make it if you try and practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like to say that there is hope. You get to decide where you want to go for the future. It's not based off your past. It's not based off your background you grew up in. You get to decide. And that's where you have to learn and educate and work on yourself and work on your relationship. But where you are now does not define where you're going. You get to decide that.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'll say a quick prayer. So, Father, we just pray, Father, that you would help us just with just ordinary principles that I just remember my dad talking, and he would say that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Help us to not plan to fail, but help us to want to win in our relationships, not just in our marriage, but with our kids. And we want to win our home game. And so, Father, we pray for every man, every woman, every family, every couple who's listening today. Lord, help us to develop a game plan. That first game plan starts with you. We want to pray for everyone to just bow their knee to Jesus. And we pray, Father, that as we invite you more into our lives, that you would help us to have healthy, vibrant marriages. And so, Father, we thank you, Lord, for every marriage that's out there, whether they're in a good season or maybe it's a challenging season, that you want to take our marriages from good marriages to great marriages. We pray these things in your name. Amen.
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 Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys share this podcast with any couples out there. Make sure you buy the book, Marriage Game Plan by George and Tondra Gregory. And go Chargers.
Come on. Bolt up, baby.